Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And just want to say I apologize for being out for so long, not releasing a video recently. I've been very busy with work and family, but now I'm back, and I want to do a follow-up on the primary arms 1 to 8 by 24 first focal plane Raptor after taking it out to a few range trips. So, in my first video, I did a comparison between the 1 to 6 Raptor and the 1 to 8 Raptor, which just came out, and briefly talked about my initial impressions and some comparisons between the two. And I went over the body, the turrets, the design, the glass, the magnification range, diopter, whole 9 yards. So, this jumps forward to how did it do at the range. It did very well at the range. Just as good as the 1 to 6, which I expected it to do. So, first, I'll cover the glass. Because in the first video, I said that I thought that the glass might have been a little bit clearer than the 1 to 6, and after being at the range and broad daylight, overcast, even in low light, it still does seem like it's clearer than the 1 to 6. I don't know if that is done purposely because it is a 1 to 8 and they want to go with a slightly clearer glass because of the magnification range, or if this is just a one-off incident or whatever the case is. But if for my sample size of 1 and comparing it to the 1 to 6, the 1 to 8 just has a little bit clearer glass than the 1 to 6, but it's not leaps and bounds. It's not something that you have to run and go get the 1 to 8 because it's got a slightly clear glass. Again, it's a sample size of 1, and this is me comparing it to the 1 to 6 that I have. Going back to the illumination, using the illumination and out at the range with the 1 to 6 to compare to, it seems that the illumination is slightly less bright than the 1 to 6. For kind of put it into comparison, if I had the 1 to 6 at setting 11 and the 1 to 8 at setting DTS2, which is daytime 2, its brightest setting, which is equivalent to 11, it's kind of in between setting 10 and 11 for brightness on the 1 to 6. So it's a hair less, but still bright enough. Now, on its lowest magnification on 1 and really bright, you can't really see it unless you're against the back, like a darker backdrop. But when you zoom in, it's definitely lit. Is this a problem? It depends on you and your mileage. What do you consider daytime bright to be? Are you looking for red dot type brightness, where you can use it on one power during the day like a red dot outside, and in the brightest of bright days? Depends. For me, considering it's LVPO and where I live and my role, for me, it doesn't matter. I won't use it, being it's an etch reticle. I'm not going to use illumination unless I absolutely have to. For instance, if I'm moving through a structure and I need that illumination because it's dark in that structure, or in low light, which obviously you would use it, and it worked very good in low light. Or if I'm taking shots at a distance and the target happens to be a darker target, whether we're wearing dark clothing or if I'm at the range and it's a dark plate with a dark backdrop, uh, then I would use the illumination, and during in bright daylight it would work fine. So in that sense, it does depend on what you what you believe to be is daylight bright. Um, I think it's a little bit overplayed unless it's a red dot, and then if it's a red dot, then it has to be daylight bright the way most people would expect it to be, because that's the only form of uh, reticle in your optic. And in this case, that's not a big deal. How did the magnification range do? Magnification range was fine. It was pretty much the same as the 1 to 6 up to 1 to 6. Once you got to 7 and 8, it was definitely a tighter eye box. And your eye relief was definitely shortened. Now, in the lower ranges, on one setting, even though it says that it has a 3.5 inch, about an inch less than the 1 to 6 for your eye relief, it didn't feel like that on one power. And I was still very fast with snapshots. Again, this is going to be something that has to do more with training than it is the limits of the optic. On 1 to 8, the eye box was a bit tight, and the eye relief was about 3 inches. And for me, that's not a problem. Some people might have a problem with it. Again, everybody's mileage varies. Everybody has their opinion on the way certain things to be. If I'm at 8 power, 3 inches eye relief is fine. I'm not taking quick snapshots at 8 power. If I'm at 8 power, I'm trying to take a precision shot at distance. Other than that, I'm not really too concerned with that. As a matter of fact, even up to 4 or 5 power, I was able to take quick snapshots with this optic, which is absolutely fine. Changing changing the magnification setting, I prefer so much more on this one because of, let me turn this around, because of that fin right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it is right there. I'll turn it up so you can see it. But the fin has a more pronounced angle on it. You can see it right there, as opposed to the 1 to 6. Now, I don't believe that on the 1 to 6 or the 1 to 8 that you need to get the throw lever type that bolts onto this, because of how flat the sides are. The walls of it are a lot more vertical than the 1 to 6, so you can push and not worry about slipping off. At least that's been my experience with this at the range. With the 1 to 6, pushing off on this, and you can see right here, you can see how much of an angle that is for that fin, and it's very easy to slip off. There's no knurling or texturing or anything like that, and it's very smooth. So with dry hands, especially now being in the winter, slips right off. That's why a lot of times I just grab the whole ring and spin it, and that's how I've been able to overcome that. I don't really care for throw levers, to be honest with you. I feel like when you're running an optic with throw levers, they have a tendency to get caught on stuff. I know there's other companies that have foldable throw levers, and maybe that will be a better thing in my use, and not getting caught on anything. But in my experience, throw levers tend to get caught on stuff, and it just It pisses me off, so I don't run them. So, yeah, everything worked good. The dials, I mean, it was very easy to cite this in. And dials were right on, spot on. I didn't do a box test. I don't care to do a box test on an LVPO because for its designed intent, I'm not dialing any type of firing solution. This is designed for quick engagements out to distance, and the BDC is supposed to be there to help you with that. So I'm not going to worry about dialing, but for the purpose of dialing my zero, it was spot on. And again, glass was clear, reticle was clear, everything seemed to work. I've been out 3 or 4 times with this thing, and ranging from 55 degrees all the way down to about 17 degrees. And it's been fine. The magnification ring did not stiffen up. It would still move freely. The diopter moved freely. No issues with the windage or elevation turrets, and no issue with the illumination. Now, I don't do torture testing on any of this stuff, mainly because I pay for this out of pocket, and I'm not going to destroy a $480 optic or chance destroying a $480 optic for the sake of making a video. I don't get, I'm not sponsored. I don't get these things for T&E. This is out of my own pocket, so I give you a real world perspective on how your everyday shooter is going to do it. You know, going to the range, planking, taking classes, stuff like that. But with that being said, the one day last week that I was out on the range, last weekend, I had this sitting on top of my my rifle bag. I was walking to my car to grab something out of my trunk. Turned around, and I saw this thing flying through the air, the whole rifle. We got like a 30-mile-an-hour gust, and it was pretty bad that day for the wind, but the gusts were even worse. And what happened, gust of wind came, got underneath the rifle bag, turned my rifle bag into a sail, and this was sitting on a rifle bag. Now, it flew about 5 feet through the air, and it went from one lane over the lane I was shooting in into the next lane. No magazine in, no ammunition chamber, nothing like that. But flew through the air. I can't even see because I know it hit. You're not going to be able to see it, but I don't know if this will show. But there's some marking right here, and then you can see where it hit right here on the floor. So you're thinking a 7-pound, 7.5-pound rifle flying through the air 5 feet high, flying about 10 feet across, and slamming on the ground. Right on the optic. It didn't hit the rifle first, it hit the optic. I picked it up, put it right on the range, shot it, and no issues with zero shift whatsoever. Nothing with elevation, nothing with windage. So you can take that for what it is. I think that's more indicative of the worst possible case that somebody's probably going to experience, like me and most of the viewers on this channel. You can take that for what it is. Now, I know Grantham did his test on the 1-6, and he did it twice because Primary Arms challenged him to try to break it, or see what it would take for him to really mess it up, and it held up phenomenally. Still not on par with like a Night Force or something like that, but those things they're designed for the harsh abuse that one would put it through during war and still keep going. which is why they're so heavy, and so on and so forth. But for such a light optic, such as both of these, to be able to take a hit like that right on, especially here, I think this is where it hit first and then slammed down on the windage turret. Um, that goes to show, in my book, that goes to show how durable this is. And the fact that it was designed to be durable. So, with that being said, I think this optic is a great buy. For the 1 to 6, you're looking at $399.99. This one's $479.99. So you're talking an $80 markup for this one. And if you're looking for a 1 to 8, or you're on the fence about getting a 1 to 6 to 1 to 8 for an extra $80, I think you're making out like a bandit with this Primary Arms 1 to 8. If not, if your budget's a little tight and spending that extra $80 is a little bit of an issue, you're still fine with this 1 to 6. This thing is a great optic. And again, this is going to live on this Ruger here, while this is going to go on another rifle once I get it. I've just left it on here for the sake of testing it. But I love this optic. I love my 1 to 6. I have my my goal line 2 to 10 by 44 with the Griffin Mill reticle. I love that thing. I did have an issue with that, and I may do a video on that in the future. I just want to consult Primary Arms just to make sure that it's not an issue. So I'll leave it at that. But other than the one little issue I had, it's been running great. No problems whatsoever. Glass is phenomenal. The reticle, I love it. I can't wait to stretch that thing out once the summer hits, because I'll be gone for a little bit for work. So, but I'll put out a video on that. Not so much on what I do, but the fact that I'll be gone for a little bit, and there'll be a couple month period where there won't be any videos. It doesn't. The plan was that I would film videos, predate them, and then release them as the time went on. But considering with everything that's going on my personal life with the kids and work, doesn't look like that's going to be able to happen. So I'll continue to put out videos until I leave for this trip, and just put out, my final video up until my return. Will just be covering the fact that I'll be gone, and kind of small hiatus due to work. But that's it. If you're in the market for a 1 to 8 first focal plane with a phenomenal reticle, the 1 to 8 Raptor from Primary Arms is your go-to. I can't see any other optic company putting out something as good as this. I know that there's Vortex. I don't know if they have a first focal plane, but I know they have a 1 to 8 with their Strike Eagle. And then if you go up in price point, I think they do with the Viper PST line, but I'm not 100% sure. I know Adaball has a 1 to 8 first focal plane, and I believe it's slightly more than this, like $10 more than this. I've never used Adaball stuff. I have a buddy that does run nothing but Adaball and has nothing but great things to say about it. I just personally, I'm not a fan of the reticle, but reticle is preference for the shooter. So who knows? Maybe I'll talk to him and see if I can borrow his one. I think he has a 1 to 6. I'll borrow his 1 to 6 and see if I can do comparison to the 1 to 6 on this Primary Arms. But yeah, thanks for watching. Any questions, leave them down below. I'll answer them. If the channel grows bigger to the point where I'm getting hundreds of comments after a video, I'll do my best to answer every comment. But as of now, being a small channel, at this point, I don't even know if I should consider myself a channel, but I like the fact that I can talk to everybody who comments, and have some engagement. I hate when there's other channels out there, you contact them or you leave a message or whatever, and they never respond back. I know that it's a little bit unrealistic to expect a response, but the bigger channel guys that are, like Iraq Veteran, they have 1 million guys on their, followers, but I like being able to engage with those who watch my videos. So yeah, leave a comment down below if there's anything you can do to make these videos better. Please leave, any constructive criticism. Don't be an ass, please, because I will be an ass back. That's just how I am, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. So other than that, enjoy your day, and look forward to another video. I think I'm going to follow up on this LWRC on my next video. I think it's about time to do that one. Anyway, have a good night.